Well, let's stand and sing our celebration song, The Journey of Awakening. Everybody sing praise, 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 praise. Praise for the journey of awakening. Everybody sing praise, 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 praise. Praise for the journey of awakening. I'm on a journey of awakening to the presence of God within me, expressing peace, joy, love, and harmony on this journey of awakening. Everybody sing praise, 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 praise. Praise for the journey of awakening. Everybody sing praise, 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 praise. Praise for the journey of awakening. I'm on a journey of awakening to the presence of God within me, expressing peace, joy, love, and harmony on this journey of awakening. Everybody sing praise, 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 praise. Praise for the journey of awakening. Everybody sing praise, 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 praise. Praise for the journey of awakening. Everybody, journey of awakening. All right.
Okay, my name is Bruce Crack on behalf of Reverend Donna Maurer and the Board of Trustees. I'd like to welcome you to the Sonora Center, Sonora Desert Center of Spiritual Living. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we truly welcome you here. Here you are will be vitalized, supported, and encouraged to be all you're meant to be. Our vision statement, which I enjoy, is love in action every day in every way. We express this by learning the living principles of science mind. You find our declaration and principles on the back of your program. Please join me in the reading. I believe there is an infinite intelligence operating throughout the universe. I believe this intelligent power is only good. I believe this intelligence expresses as me. I believe through my conscious use of this power, I create my life as happy, healthy, and complete. And so it is. Very good. I'd like to thank everybody that made today's celebration possible. That's everybody, everyone. Some people do a little more, but that's quite all right. Okay, let me see. Do we have any first time? I think they all look pretty familiar. I've been gone, but yeah. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you back. Okay, let's go along with the bulletin announcements. I think that's about it. Please turn off your cell phones.
the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. It is all for our greatest and highest good. The God in me beholds the God in you, and you and I are one. Namaste. Namaste.
Good morning. I'm Melinda. I'm your practitioner today, and I have a little announcement. Some of you participated in the Atlas of the Heart class we had here. We called it Meaningful Connections. It was wonderful. Well, Louise and I are going to hold the class, continue with the class, whatever chapter we left off on, online. And so it's going to be on Fridays starting in June, every Friday morning, your time here, 10 to 12. And Donna's going to put the details in the e-news about that. So that'll be great. And we'll just continue to take love offerings. So I'll light the candle, representing the light, the light, the light. And for our invocation, I relax. I breathe in and I relax into the knowing, the unlimited potential that I swim in, that I breathe, that I experience. Everything I want or need is right here, right now, in this moment. All I have to do is open to receive. Be open to receive the goodness of God. And that's what we're here for today as we listen to the inspirational messages and music and soak up the goodness of God. And together we say, and so it is. What is spiritual bypass? Are you a human being having a spiritual experience? Or a spiritual being having a human experience? Notice that each of these descriptions include being human, being spiritual, and having experiences. There are so many promises out there that this path or that practice will allow you to live in a perpetual state of bliss while achieving all your goals and becoming rich and famous and thin in the process. And who wouldn't want that? We do spend a significant amount of energy to feel good. In some ways, we are spiritually distracting ourselves from our emotions, yet thinking we are walking a spiritual path. These practices are healthy when used to support ourselves, but not to cover up what is really happening. Not when used to shield us from the truth. That is called spiritual bypass. And it is a defense mechanism, which means we're trying to escape what's really going on inside. Spiritual bypass shields us from the truth. It disconnects us from our feelings. It is more about checking out than checking in, even though it looks prettier on the outside. John Wellwood coined the term spiritual bypass and defines it as using spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep personal, emotional, unfinished business, to shore up a shaky sense of self, or to belittle basic needs, feelings, and developmental tasks. The shorthand for spiritual bypass, and see if you can just feel into the difference in these two words. Bypassing is grasping rather than gratitude. Arriving rather than being. Avoiding rather than accepting. It is a spiritual practice in the service of repression, usually because we cannot tolerate what we are feeling or think we should not be experiencing that feeling. It's important to note that it can serve as a tool to handle extreme trauma, and it can be a lifesaver if used temporarily. Spiritual bypass is an equal opportunity defense mechanism. It is more related to what we as human beings do with spiritual practice than it is to the actual spiritual practice itself. If you have found a way to transcend the human condition, my hat is off to you, truly. For the rest of us who continue to wrestle with emotional growing pains, I'm sharing about spiritual bypass as a reminder we are not supposed to rise above it all. We can't outrun our own feet. We can't outthink our own brains. We can't override this human operating system we live in and breathe in every hour and every day to free ourselves from pain and problems. Not perpetually, anyway. Remember that spiritual practice and emotional growth are not about winning cash and prizes all the time. It's about being present in the moment, whatever that happens to look like. What are you experiencing right now? And how about now? Can you be present to all of your feelings without allowing any one of them to define you? There's something very necessary about being who and where you are right now. When I become present with who I am, all of me, there's something that I usually don't want to see. Yet the more I've tried to rise above it or turn my back to the dark side, the more it lingers and grows. Finally, I turned towards it. And it did not annihilate me like my fear predicted. Instead, it was within the darkness I found the light. Being honest helped me to see the light that was also there with me all the time. When we stop running from ourselves, we are able to start loving ourselves exactly as we are. Can you be a spiritual person and have a bad day? I think so. Let's take the shame out of being human and begin to share our experiences of emotions as they rise up so we can process them through them with a friend who understands, who will listen, who will not judge us. Let's be kind to one another as we rest and relax in the inherent challenges of being human, having many spiritual experiences. Namaste. Thank you. So I will be holding a high watch awaiting your prayer request. Thank you.
I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. and I will hold myself like a newborn baby child, and I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I know I will be gentle with my heart. I will be gentle with my heart, and I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will be gentle with my heart. I will be gentle with my heart, and I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. And I know relax into that self-forgiveness, into that self-love, that self-acceptance, knowing that you are worthy and you are magnificent. Give it up for the love. Give it up for the joy. Give it up for the light that illuminates our souls. Give it up for the peace. Give it up for the bliss. There's a higher truth we don't even fully know. Give yourself up to grace. Feel yourself being held in the arms of a higher force, a high beam full of love. Watch the story unfold. In a play you behold your beloved, your divine, the Ras Leela of your life. And the moment you let go, lay yourself down at its feet. Take its hand and step into the dance. You free yourself from everything that keeps you from that love, and open up to higher realms of grace. Give it up for the love. Give it up for the joy. Give it up for the light that illuminates our souls. Give it up for the peace. Give it up for the bliss. There's a higher truth we don't even fully know. Give yourself up to grace. Feel yourself being held in the arms of a higher force, a high beam full of love. Give it up. 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 for the love. For the love. And be gentle with yourself. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, sweetie. Good morning. I love our theme this month is common sense spirituality. And I really like that because it seems to me that just as Melinda was talking about spiritual bypass, there's a practical use of our spirituality. And if we're not putting our spirituality to practical use, what good is it? What good is it? We can say a lot of words, but if it's not part of our lifestyle, then we're kind of missing something important. Our topic today is no sins, only consequences. Years ago, I was talking to someone. When you first get into religious science, you get real excited because you find ideas that you hadn't heard before. And I did this too. I immediately went to my mom and dad, who thought that of course, I just moved to California, so they knew I was bonkers. But I was talking to someone like me who was rather new to the experience, and she told me of a conversation that she had with her mother. She said, "Mom, we don't believe in heaven or hell, and we don't believe in sin." And her mother, looking over the top rim of her glasses, said with a stiff lip, "That's very convenient for you." Well, it's not only convenient, but it's true. It's true. We believe that there is only one power and presence. We believe that this power and presence is only good. We say it every single Sunday. We believe that this power is infinite. Beginning with that premise, there cannot be two powers because there cannot be two infinites. No, not one good and one evil. There can only be one, and it is good. And this power that we call God created us out of itself. Therefore, we were created in the image and likeness of good. And all of those attributes that are a part of good that I say almost every Sunday, love, truth, beauty, joy, harmony, peace, abundance, that's our nature. That's our divine inheritance. So where does sin come in? Originally, the word sin was a term in archery, which meant to miss the mark. And when the word was called out, it was an indication to the archer that he had missed his target and should take another shot. In our Science of Mind teaching, we believe that God is love and God is also law. There's no God sitting on a throne writing down our mistakes for which we will be ultimately punished, or our rewards, our good deeds for which we will be rewarded. It doesn't work that way. But there is a law of cause and effect that's a natural law that operates through everything. When we consciously or unconsciously misuse this law, then we face the consequences of that choice or action, and it's that simple. Electricity works through natural law, right? It cools and heats our homes. It lights our rooms, but putting our tongue in an electrical outlet will have dire consequences. The law that governs electricity is impartial to the use we make of it. And God is like that. The law of God is exactly like that. It's impartial. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, tells us the power of choice with which we have been endowed is either our greatest blessing or our greatest curse. Properly understood, it can lift us to the heights. Misunderstood, it can drag us to the depths. We are free to choose anything we wish, but we must accept the responsibility for our choices because law will create our experiences according to our choices. So that's why we say that there are no sins, only mistakes. There's no punishment from an outside God, but we do reap the consequences of our choices. You know, years ago I taught Sunday school at Founders Church. I had kindergartners through 6th grade. Well, on my way into church, I was speeding, and I got a speeding ticket. So it was a perfect example. I told the kids what happened, and then I held up the ticket for them to see, and I asked them, did God punish me for speeding? No. Did the policeman hate me? No. He was doing his job to protect the community. I simply broke a law. I misused my freedom of choice, and I paid the consequences in the form of a ticket. Very simple, very simple. Yeah, I told someone recently that I believe Centers for Spiritual Living will never be a huge institution because we take full responsibility for our actions. And we can't say, we can't say the devil made me do it. We can't blame it. We can't blame it on an outside entity. If there's something going wrong in our life, in our minds, in our hearts, it's our responsibility to do something about it. We are the captains of our soul. We choose our own destiny. We create our own heaven or hell by the choices that we make. In A Return to Love, Marianne Williamson says, years ago, I told myself not to worry about a devil. I remember thinking that there is no force of evil stalking the planet. That, I told myself, is all in my head. Then I realized this is not good news. Since every thought creates experience, there's no worse place that it could possibly be. And I agree with her, and I also believe, as she does, that this is also the best place it could possibly be. Because if I am the creator, then I have within me the power to change my thinking and change my life. A great warrior came to the master and asked him what was heaven and what was hell. The master said, how could you ask me that? You are not worthy. You are nothing. You are poor excuse for a warrior. Infuriated, the warrior held his sword high and was about to slash the master into pieces. And the master said gently, that is hell. The warrior, realizing that the master risked his life to show him this lesson, dropped his sword immediately and humbly asked the master for forgiveness. And the master said gently, and that is heaven. Ernest Holmes tells us, can we think of reward and punishment from any other viewpoint than that sin is a mistake and punishment a consequence, that virtue and righteousness must find their corresponding effects in our experience? God neither punishes nor rewards. Such a concept of God would create an anthropomorphic dualism, a house divided against itself. Such a house cannot stand. Life is a blessing or a curse according to the use we make of it. In the long run, no one judges us but ourselves, and no one condemns us but ourselves. We believe in a law that governs all things and all people. If we make mistakes, we suffer. We are our own reward and our own punishment. So the power and presence from which we are birthed is sourced from love. And you and I are the love of God manifest in human form. And sometimes we forget that. As Melinda said this morning, I mean, it's beautiful. It flows right in with me. We see ourselves as separate from God, and we see each other as separate from ourselves. Yet we are as much one with God and each other as the rays are to the sun and the waves are to the ocean. When we remember who we truly are and our actions stem from that remembrance, then we experience heaven on earth. Ernest Holmes tells us that there is no sin but ignorance. God knows only perfection. When we know as God knows, our troubles will be rolled up like a scroll and numbered with past illusions. So how do we begin to know as God knows, to know only perfection? And to me, perfection is just another word for love. So how do we begin to know only love? And again, as Melinda said, we learn by truly loving ourselves. Most of us have unloving feelings towards ourselves. We pile up all of our flaws, our faults, our past failures, and we make a golden calf out of them. We think about them, we berate ourselves for them, we wish we were different. And it happens to all of us. There are times that just out of nowhere a thought comes and I think, oh my God, I wish I hadn't done that, And it might have been something that happened 50 years ago, but they're there, they're there. So can we begin then, even with all those chattering monkeys in our head, to say, I am a beloved child of the universe? When our head tells us we are not enough, can we say back, even if I believe this now, I am still a child of the universe, beloved by it? And I think we should start tacking that statement onto everything that we think, especially when we're being hard on ourselves. I am a child of the universe, beloved by it. In this way, we may not immediately replace our negative thoughts, but we are giving ourselves a chance to see the other side of us, the side that is the light within us, that side of us that is our ultimate truth. If we keep adding this little addendum onto everything we think, we will begin to see this loving and beautiful side of ourselves, and we will begin to bring it forward. And just as we can turn a glass of dirty water into clean by gently allowing drops of pure water to flow into it, we can turn our negative thoughts about ourselves into more positive and beneficial ones. I grew up with a nagging feeling that if I loved myself, I was being arrogant. Marianne Williamson says, to remember that you are part of God, that you are loved and lovable, is not arrogant, it's humble. To think that you are anything else is arrogant because it implies you're something other than a creation of God. We're not arrogant when we think of ourselves as a child of God, beloved by the universe. It is the beginning of our transformation, and as we are transformed, so are those around us, and so is the planet. The next thing after beginning to love ourselves is to ask ourselves, how can I see, how can I perceive this situation differently? In our own experiences, can we see that some of our mistakes stemmed from our own lack of self-love? Can we see these experiences through soft and gentle eyes as we would a child who doesn't know any better? And can we honestly believe that we were doing the best we could at the time? And then extend those perceptions to other people. If we start to judge another, then stop and ask ourselves, how can I perceive this differently? Where can I bring love to this situation? Nothing ever changes permanently through judgment, intolerance, fear, or loathing. Love is the only true healing agent. And if we become agents of love, then we become change agents for the world. I was talking to someone recently who said there seems to be so much evil in the world, it feels very real. How can you say that someone like Hitler wasn't evil? In The Prophet, Al-Mustafa responds to the man who asks about good and evil. Of the good in you I can speak, but not of the evil. For what is evil but good, tortured by its own hunger and thirst? Verily, when good is hungry, it seeks food, even in dark caves, and when it thirsts, it drinks even of dead waters. You know, I've read a little bit of Hitler's history, and I asked this person, did you know that Hitler's father beat him perpetually? How can a child grow up believing he's a beloved child of the universe with parents who beat him regularly and tell him he's no good? And obviously that does not exonerate the horrendous actions, but it gives a different perspective to this man that we would call evil. And for me, it helps me understand that his need for power, for me, it helps me understand his need for power, as he had no conception of love. Gary Zukav in The Seed of the Soul tells us that evil is the absence of light, and by light he means divine intelligence. He says, understanding that evil is the absence of light does not mean that it is inappropriate to respond to evil. The remedy for an absence is a presence. Evil is an absence, and therefore it cannot be healed with an absence. By hating evil, or one who is engaged in evil, we contribute to the absence of light and not to its presence. Hatred of evil does not diminish evil, it increases it. As we bring our self-love into the world, we are creating a new heaven on earth. We say that thoughts are things. Then, if that's true, thought is the cause and experience is the effect. We will never change the effects in our own lives or our own world until we begin in our own minds with thoughts that stem from the deepest love within us. It's then that we bring the presence of light into any experience. It's not mean that we turn our back and do nothing if we see abuse. But it does mean that we bring compassion as well as action into the situation. If we stop a person from abusing an animal, for example, and then we hate that person for abusing the animal, we may have stopped the immediate abuse, but we've not transformed the experience. If we can bring compassion for the abuser into the experience, we have a chance to let our light transform the abuser. I've often wondered what would have happened to Hitler if he had had a loving aunt or uncle who could have shown him the way of love as an antidote to his father's unloving abuse. Khalil Gibran says of Crime and Punishment, "And you who would understand justice, how shall you, unless you look upon all deeds in the fullness of light? Only then shall you know that the erect and the fallen are but one man standing in twilight between the night of his pygmy self and the day of his God self." This is the way we bring our love into the world, through the eyes of compassion, through the heart of love. As I said before, our teaching does not believe that evil is a thing of itself, a power opposed to God that we must fight. Certainly the appearance of evil can be felt, can be seen and felt. And the only way any appearance is changed is by changing its cause, which lies in our thinking. We believe that sin is a mistake and there's no punishment but a consequence. When we move into the light of divine intelligence, of the presence within us, we are transformed by the renewing of our mind. And as we know the truth that we are a child of the universe, beloved by it, and as we perceive all things with the language of love, we become the light of the world. And in finding our own light and our own truth, our love then moves outward like ripples on a pond, and we do share our heaven on earth. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.
Goes like this. And we can go into one half of the room and the second half of the room, okay? And we'll split it at Regis and Loma and Wanda. So you'll be this half of the room and you'll be this half of the room, and we can sing it together as a round. It's very pretty that way. I trust myself, I know the way. I trust myself, I know the way. In everything I do and say, I trust myself, I know the way. I trust myself, I know the way. trust myself. I know the way. I trust myself. I know the way. In everything I do and say, I trust myself. Know the way. I trust myself. I know the way. And follow my own path every day. Are you ready to split in two? I trust my, I know the, I trust my, I know the way. And every, I trust myself. Yes, I trust myself. Yes, you do. Trust yourself. I trust myself. I know the way. I trust myself. I know the way. I follow my own path every day. That was lovely. I loved that. I don't know about you, but I love hearing all those echoes about following your own path and trusting yourself and knowing your own way. I think it speaks directly to self-forgiveness, being gentle with yourself, everything we're talking about today. Let's try it again, and you sing it at your pace, because it is your way. You know your way. Yes, why don't you guys go first? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I trust myself. I know the way. I trust myself. I know the way. In Give yourself a pat on the back. That was wonderful. Yes. We did it.
Thank you. That was fun. Okay. So this is time for our offering. Chance to put that divine law of circulation in process. And I ask that you join me in our offering affirmation on the left side of our bulletin. My gift goes forth to heal, and prosper, and bless all that it touches. It is evidence of my conviction that God is the source and substance of my supply. I share generously of my good, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank keep singing thank you, those thank yous. Give me those thank yous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Promise in this moment to keep my heart wide open. With every breath I take, I'm grateful.
And we truly are grateful for this Sonoran Desert Center for Spiritual Living, for this spiritual family that is so full of love. And I don't know how many times I've heard it this week and last about how much we love our center. And I know we've got people that are on their way. I think Melinda and Peter leave tomorrow morning, and Don and Lynn are leaving Saturday. So we it's a bittersweet to watch our to watch our members not show up because we know that they have other places to go and be during the summer, and so we bless their trips, their safety, and just know that all is well. So let's just take a moment to close this portion out in prayer, and there's some goodies back on the table I can see. Yummy. Okay. I know that there is one mind, one light, one love, and it is the love of God. And it is that love that we share, that we feel, and that we bring to the world. And we know that there is no sin, only consequences. And we allow ourselves to see this law of life and love in action rather than seeing sin and hate and rejection. I speak a word for each one of us here, for those who are leaving for the summer, a safe and healthy trip. I speak my word for anyone who's experiencing any kind of a challenge, that God is right there where that challenge is, bringing forth the highest and best in the situation. I speak my word for Ukraine and for all of the areas that are feeling chaos, for our own country. And again, we know that God is in the middle of this situation and bringing forth something new and better. So I simply release all of these words to that law of mind, knowing that it is in action for each and every one of us as we say together, and so it is. Thank you. And we stand and sing stand.
So let there be peace. I am a stand